5 blood sugar hacks for the best menopause weight loss meals. I'm not trying to give you a lot of rules in your life, but if you can notice some of these things, they may be worth doing because they're easy and they may be helpful to you. So, number 1, when you're eating your meal, eat this first. You want to have protein or something that has high fiber. We have evidence that both of these things at the beginning of a meal lower your blood glucose curve, which means you have less insulin coming in to tell your body to store fat. And that is the key at menopause for easy, simple weight loss. So you can do either one. Have your protein or have your high fiber vegetable or berry. So this is easy. If you've got a chicken stir fry, chicken and vegetables, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of eat it all together. If you've got separate things like roasted meat and roasted vegetables, start with whatever you like, but make sure it's one of those first. What I've also been doing lately is bringing a jar of fermented vegetables to the table as well. It's a nice condiment on the side. I'll buy a small jar of sauerkraut or kimchi that's made locally. And that also is a very high fiber thing to add at the beginning. And we have some evidence that fermented vegetables will also lower your blood glucose curve for the meal. Okay. Number 2, avoid this. Any commercially made bread, even if it says whole grain, it's probably also got many not whole grain flours in there. So what can you have if you want to have bread at that meal? A sprouted bread like Ezekiel bread, something that's an ancient grain bread that you bought at the farmer's market or at a bakery that they can tell you that it's made out of fully ancient grains. Also, I was on Instagram recently and there was a woman who was squishing together vegetables that were grated and nuts. And then she put it in a loaf pan and cooked it. And it looked like bread and she could slice it at the end. So, something like that could work as well if you want to go looking for a recipe like that. But a commercial bread, even if it says whole wheat, is going to be very inflammatory. When I did a continuous glucose monitor, I noticed that a sandwich spiked my blood sugar as high as a vanilla latte on an empty stomach. So people who go through menopause have issues with a bump in insulin resistance. And so we're going to get a higher blood sugar from some of these inflammatory foods. So let's be careful and avoid commercially made bread at our meal. Okay, number 3, a drizzle of olive oil. Why is this a good blood sugar hack? Well, olive oil does not raise your blood sugar or raise your insulin, but it will help you feel full and satisfied. And it's very good for your health. So I was at a restaurant recently and I ordered this fresh whitefish with roasted vegetables. The plate came and literally it was just a splayed out piece of whitefish. And I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. And the waiter said, the best thing to do with this whitefish is to drizzle some olive oil and put salt and pepper on it. And I did that. And he was right. It was absolutely fantastic. So olive oil drizzle can be your friend, will help you feel satisfied, help you stay satisfied between your meals, and is not going to raise your blood sugar or your insulin levels. So great for weight loss. Number 4, hide your dessert at the end. When you have dessert, always have it right at the end of a meal. I found when I did a continuous glucose monitor that I could have a piece of dark chocolate at the end of my meal, and it didn't show up at all on my blood sugar curve for my meal. I still had just that nice curve, and you couldn't even tell that I'd had chocolate at the end. Now, people will tell you if you go for that 85% dark chocolate or above, you really don't need to worry at all in general about blood sugar, and that may be true. We are all bio-individuals, so I can't tell you if that's going to be perfectly true for you. But the grocery store I go to often does not have a dark chocolate quite that dark, so mine has a little bit of sugar in it, and I can still hide it at the end of the meal if I feel like I want to have that. If you're thinking about having another dessert, and having dessert once or twice a week in general is just fine for your body at the menopause transition and beyond, and even during weight loss. If you have that dessert right at the end of the meal, just notice that you don't overeat in general. So if you're feeling fairly satisfied and you want dessert, have some and notice after a couple of bites, am I feeling done? Or if you've saved room because you want the whole piece of pumpkin pie, go ahead and do that too. But remember, for blood sugar, it's going to be best if you have that dessert right at the end of the meal. And whatever dessert you have, remember, you don't want to overeat for the meal in general. All right, number 5, the last one, the 5-minute walk at the end of the meal. So this is very well proven in scientific literature. A 5-meal walk after a meal will help keep your blood sugar curve lower. This is recommended for people with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes, metabolic syndrome. And I'm telling you that I am recommending it for anyone at the menopause transition, menopause, and beyond, because it really helps with keep your blood sugar under better control. Your muscles will take up some of that glucose that you ate. So I have a client who works in a corporate building, and at lunch, she has figured out a loop where she can do this 10-minute walk after her lunch. I have a friend who's a hospitalist in the South, and after she has her meal, she walks out to the grass and walks back in. So she gets a little bit of vitamin N for nature, but she does get a nicer blood sugar curve after that meal. On days that I'm working from home, and I know many of you work from home, I'll take my dog and walk around for 5 minutes in the yard. And that's my 5 minutes after my meal to keep my blood sugar curve a little bit nicer. So those are your 5 blood sugar hacks for menopause weight loss meals. Number 1, eat protein or something high fiber first. Both of those will keep your blood sugar curve not as high. Number 2, avoid commercial bread at your meal. Even if it says whole grain, it's going to have inflammatory flours. I'm almost certain. So, come fight me in the comments if you don't think that's true. Number 3, a little drizzle of olive oil is a wonderful thing to have at your meal for your good health, for feeling satisfied, and will not spike your blood sugar, will not raise your insulin at all. Number 4, hide any dessert at the very end of the meal. Any sweets should be had right at the end of your nice protein and high fiber meal. A great blood sugar hack. And number 5, the 5-minute walk at the end of the meal. So you've got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great blood sugar hacks for your best menopause weight loss meals. Thank you, my friend.